Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Get Unstuck episode with myself, Sarah Archer. I am a career and leadership coach working with female leaders to create the kind of career success that is right for them, either through career advancement, which we're talking about today, or career change, or by having more impact and influence in their leadership roles. And I created the Get Unstuck series because I know, as a female leader, having been one, that it's very hard to find the time and headspace to think about your career, to think about your ambition, where you want to go, some of the challenges that you're facing. And so I wanted to create a kind of little window in your week when you could have that space to think about your career. So I cover a whole range of different topics in the Get Unstuck series. And so if you are here with me today, you're very welcome. And do give me a little wave or say hello in the comments. It's always nice to know that people are here live with me. And I've got some very exciting news before we dive into the session today, in that today I am launching my podcast, Unstuck and Unstoppable. And I will be covering a lot of the topics that I've covered in various lives in the podcast. So if you want to be able to kind of get this career inspiration and ideas and strategies whilst you're on your commute or walking the dog or wherever you listen to your podcast, it will now be available. And obviously I'll put a link in the comments today, and there'll be various posts coming out over the next few weeks about it too. So I hope you enjoy having access to the kind of career wisdom in a different format. So let's dive into today's topic, which is all about getting promotion in your leadership role. So obviously we're thinking about maybe moving from VP to SVP, from head of to director, from manager to head of, from director to the C-suite. And obviously getting promotion means that we can have more impact, we can have more influence, we can get more challenge and stretch, we can grow, we can fulfill our ambition, we can get excited about what we're doing, and obviously get rewarded for taking on that bigger role as well through a higher salary or more reward in whatever format that might take. And I'm just saying, hello, Julie. Very nice of you to join me. I'm not sure if there's an echo. There's not an echo on my side, so I don't know quite what's going on. Hopefully that will sort itself out for you. And obviously, the reason you might want to look for promotion is that you really love your company or you really love your current team and you don't really want to move. You've got a real connection with the organisation's ethos or mission or people, and you want to stay, but you obviously want to have all those things we've just mentioned. Now, obviously, excuse me, there are challenges to getting promotion, and that can be about the fact that you do have to be intentional about it and clear about what you need to do. And it can sometimes feel hard to find the headspace to be intentional, and it can sometimes feel hard to find the time to put the effort into promotion. And obviously we're going to talk about that today. One of the other challenges you might find is that your boss could be a challenge. So obviously you want your boss to be on side with your promotion ambitions. They're going to be part of that decision. They're going to be your sponsor if it's other people making that decision. And so depending on your relationship with your boss, they could be an enabler or they could be a challenge to you getting a promotion. It could be a challenge in that you might be getting impatient, because if you're thinking about promotion, it's probably because you are ready for it now and you want it to happen now. But depending on your organisation, that might not be possible. It might be a bit of a longer term plan, and sometimes that can feel hard if you are ready for it now and you're kind of butting up against your current role ceiling or your boss's job, if you like, you're ready for that next step. And another challenge can be recognizing when it's not going to happen. So maybe it's just not going to be possible in your organization. Maybe there's a very flat structure, or it's very hierarchical and there's lots of processes to go through to get promotion. And sometimes it is recognizing, actually, even though I love the organization, I might have to move out to get the promotion that I want. Or recognizing, actually, the organization and what I'm doing is so good, I've just got to find other ways to get the satisfaction that maybe I'm missing at the moment. Certainly in my career, so when I worked in HR, in one of my roles, I had gone in and set up the HR function. I had helped the organisation grow significantly. We'd almost kind of doubled in size. And yet my role and my status in the organisation didn't reflect that. And so I really had to push for promotion. I had to have a conversation with my boss about, who was the CEO, about the need for HR to have the sort of seat at the table and for my role to be reflective of what I'd achieved in the organisation, for the organisation. And I had to talk continuously about what I had done, how I'd contributed, and also my plans and my vision for the future. And I did actually get promoted within that organisation, but I did have to be really intentional about making it happen and really vocal and visible about making it happen too. And obviously we're going to talk about that today as well. So obviously you do need to have a promotion winning strategy, and there are two elements to that strategy. So one is obviously actually doing great work, being really good at what you do, which I'm sure is a kind of tick already. And the second is being seen as the most promotable. So, and we're going to talk about that today as well. And within that, it's also important to understand a couple of things. So one is that what got you here isn't what's going to get you there. That if you are making that shift to that next leadership role, it's going to take something different to what you've been doing before. So you do have to be thinking about stepping into that leader that is that next level. And that might be about redefining your leadership style. And I was talking to somebody about this yesterday who's about to take on a big role. Redefining the leadership style that you want to have in that next level. And also thinking about your executive presence at that next level. Or it could actually be thinking about changing things up and looking for ways you can increase performance, it can increase productivity, it can increase efficiency or improvement. So having a different lens on how you view your current area of responsibility and thinking about what you can do differently to help showcase that you are already operating at that next level. And the second thing to understand is that promotion decisions are made by the decision makers. And so your network, your connection, and your visibility in the organisation is going to be a key part of that promotion strategy. Because obviously they've got to see the value that you bring in order to go, yes, we want to promote this person, we want to keep them in the organisation that can really add value. So I've got a bit of a checklist for you to kind of think through to see perhaps where you need to pay attention and maybe put in a bit of extra effort. Or if you're saying yes to all my checklist, then really kind of going for it and being really intentional about making sure that promotion happens. So the first thing to think about is, have you told your boss what you want? Because your boss needs to know that you want promotion, because they are going to be key, as I've kind of mentioned, in enabling that to happen, to also being realistic with you about what is possible in the organisation, and being able to kind of then talk about you positively because they're part of your strategy and they know what you want to achieve. The second thing is, are you target role ready? So thinking about the step up, are there any gaps in experience, in skill, in capability that you want to be plugging? So there's no really, you're kind of really anticipating any reasons the organisation might not be able to say yes to your promotion by making sure you've kind of plugged any gaps that are there. The third thing on my checklist is to think about what your reputation is at the moment. Is your leadership brand clear? And I'm thinking about your brand for your specialism, but also for your organizational leadership, and just making sure that that is being communicated. The fourth point on my checklist is, are you showcasing your performance and letting people know what you've done? So thinking back to when I was, pushing for promotion, I really had to talk continuously about the value that I had brought and the difference that I had made. And thinking about how it impacts the business as well, because you want to, or the business is interested in growth, it's interested in innovation, it's interested in risk management, in people, in efficiency or cost saving, and in income generation. So the dog's just started barking. So thinking about connecting what you've achieved with the difference that you can make to the bottom line or to the business can be really helpful in showcasing the value that you bring. So thinking about, are you doing that? Are you telling people about what you've done and how it links to business success? Then point 5 on the checklist is, do you have big picture insight, and are you showing that you do? So are you demonstrating that you understand the big picture, the vision, the mission of the organisation? Are you thinking about organisational wide problems, challenges, coming up with solutions that are outside of your area of specialism? And are you showing enthusiasm and a can-do attitude towards what the organisation is trying to achieve? Point 6 is your network influential? So are you connected to and actively talking to the key decision makers or people of influence in the organisation? And that's thinking beyond just maybe the C-suite or who you've identified as the decision makers around the promotion, but also thinking about, do you have a mentor? Who's your sponsor? Who's your cheerleader in the organisation? Because those people can be talking about you and what you do and the value that you bring in a way that will influence those decision makers too. So just thinking about, are you harnessing the power of your internal network and influencers? And then point 7 is, are you showcasing your emotional intelligence as a leader? Because obviously emotional intelligence is incredibly important at whatever level you are operating at, but even more so the more senior that you get. So through emotional intelligence, we want to be showcasing that we can cope with internal politics and navigate them successfully. We want to show that we are skilled in actively listening to our direct reports, to our peers, to the people above us, that we're showing support to those areas as well, and that we're not becoming kind of isolated in our specialism or not able to compromise because we can see that a different team or department in the organisation might need more resource in order to meet the business need, even if that might impact on our area not as favourably as we'd like. Are we respected for a fair but firm approach as a leader? And can we show that we have resilience and can manage stress as a leader? So thinking about your emotional intelligence and how you demonstrate that. And then finally in the checklist is thinking about the time scale. So what is your goal for making this happen? Because we do have to be more intentional. And obviously we should be doing all of these things anyway, but for our promotion, we're going to be more actively doing all of these things, and that takes energy. We don't want this to be dragging on for like a year. So we do want to set ourselves a time scale for this promotion to come to fruition. And also recognizing that, that's back to my kind of one of my earlier points, if it's not going to happen. And that can also tie in with your conversation with your boss, because obviously they can be really realistic with you about, actually it's not going to be possible in the next year to enable this promotion for you, because that gives you information. It gives you then choices that you can make. So what I would suggest you do from today is just run through that checklist and think about what am I saying yes to? What are the areas that I might need to do a bit more work around? And then just always remember that, you've got to be intentional, and what's got you here isn't going to get you there. You've got to kind of show that you're operating at that next level, and really think about who are the decision makers in your organization and what you can do to make sure they are engaged and they can really see the value that you bring. Now, obviously, if you want any support around any of these areas in terms of making your promotion a reality in 2025, then please do get in touch, do message me, and we can have a chat about what that support might look like. So have a great week. I will see you back here next Wednesday at 12:15 for another episode in the Get Unstuck series.